Welcome to Telepathic number 2. So, we're going to piggyback on what I said earlier today about how I was in bad relationships and how every girlfriend I ever had has cheated on me. And me treating women like I would want to be treated if I was a girl. Sadly, that is a really bad idea. Girls do not want to be treated like flowers. Girls sometimes want to be treated like shit. Sorry, ladies, if I'm offending you. Find me a girl who wants to be treated right, and I'll marry her. Only if she's not a gold digger, likes being called a whore, a slut, a bitch, cunt, and everything in between. It's bad. And also only if she's a cheater and likes to have sex with everybody but me. Won't let me have sex my way. Everything has to be about her. So having a big dick and a good lick only works once or twice. And if she's not into galaxy cons and comic books, no, I will not marry her. Because that woman does not exist. There are very few women who want good men. It's just that simple. And I'm in that right there. But for Kung Fu Havoc number 2, I also talked about superpowers. So we're going completely away from the relationship part of this conversation to the superpowers. Alright? So, let's talk about superpowers. We're going to specifically only do Marvel Universe because telepathic powers in DC, I'm not as big of a DC fan because I don't know who has telepathic powers. However, telepathic powers and telekinetic powers in Marvel Universe goes hand in foot. So, the reason why we're going there is because we're going to go back into relationships, only we're going to have telepathic powers as the heart of the subject. Because here's that thing. And I said this earlier on IGTV, so I'm going to say it here. I'm going to say it right now. And I don't want you guys to think that I'm flaking out. So, if a man could read a woman's thoughts, there would be no way on earth we could not ever please y'all. No. So if we could use the Jedi mind trick, you will make love to me tonight. You will make love to me tonight. You will make love to me tonight. Or if we want to get ghetto, we will be fucking tonight. We will be fucking tonight. We will be fucking tonight. But we're going to do it my way. We're going to please me versus pleasing you. Okay, I'm sorry. I probably just offended everybody with that shit. But I'm making my point now. If we all could understand each other, if we all communicated, relationships would be easy peasy. Alright? If the women told the men what they want versus what men want, it would be easier for us to please women and keep long-lasting relationships. But if you don't communicate with people, if you can't communicate with people, then you can't keep your relationship in one steady piece. Okay, I did that as an example for Professor Xavier, who always touches his temples when he's using his mental powers most of the time in the TV and in the comic books. More in the TV than in the comics. In the comics, he rarely ever did anything. You just seen like his little glow thing, and sometimes butterflies and stuff like that. It's like other things. And Psylocke and Jean have their own little red butterfly or pink butterfly or purple butterfly. They have a damn butterfly. So, unlike Kung Fu, which I am more of an expert in versus relationships, it's a lot easier for me to kick someone in the face than to explain what a woman wants here and here. If we knew what women wanted here and here, men would have an easier time. If we had telepathic powers and could read a woman's thoughts before she could think them, maybe manipulate a woman's thoughts in that process, we would probably have an easier time keeping our true loves versus having them stray away. That doesn't happen often, which goes back to my bad relationships. In the relationships that I've had up until 10 years ago, I was in a serious relationship, but every relationship I was in was serious to me. It just wasn't serious to the women. In other words, I've been in a lot of fuck ton of one-ton relationships, or one-sided relationships rather. So let's see. Treat the woman like she's gold. Check. Respect the woman. Check. Respect her parents. Check. Don't swear in front of the woman. Check. Don't swear in front of the woman's parents. Check. Get to know the parents so that you can put a ring on it. Check. So what went wrong? I don't know. You'll have to ask her why relationships were overrated and you can't come see me anymore. Alright? That part, that's not on me. Because, when you treat somebody perfectly and you rarely argue and you rarely raise your voice, you think you're doing everything right. Yeah, keep thinking that. You may find out like I did that might not be everything that's right. Now, alright, in my situation is different because she was mentally fucked up. But everybody's mentally fucked up on some level or another. How you deal with it is another ballgame. Never be afraid to go get help. I've made suicide prevention videos before, but this is not that. This is about telepathics and being able to please a woman by knowing what's going on up in here. See, a man's brain and a woman's brain fire off on different cylinders. Alright? For all you women who think that all we ever think about is sex, you're half right. Alright? I don't know when that actually happens, because as a boy, comic books, G.I. Joe, Transformers, He-Man, Silverhawks, Ghostbusters, the real Ghostbusters, not the one with the fucking monkey, Brave Star, Spiral Zone, Transformers, G.I. Joe, that's it already. Cartoons were my only friends, because as a young child, lots of black girls would always tell me, because I'm mixed, you'll never date one of us because you're not black. You're not really black. You're half black. So, well, I know I don't date black women. I carried that with me for a while. Then I was 12 and I tried dating black girls and that shit didn't work out because T. Smith brought her new boyfriend onto my porch. And not too long after her revealing to me that he was not her cousin but he was her boyfriend, Virginia was no longer for lovers. It was for boots to ass as I launched him off my porch and tried to make her wreck her spree motorcycle, scooter, whatever the damn thing was, every day into the end of summer until I came back to Charlottesville. So summer romances are also pretty bad. If you're not going to be there for the entire 12 months out of the year, summer romances, you should probably just be friends with benefits and move on swiftly. And then C almost got me killed when I was 14 and she was 14 and her boyfriend was a 23-year-old with a 22-year-old gun. I'm sorry, it was a 22 caliber pistol pointing right at my face. I've never dated a black chick since. So yeah, do I blame all black chicks for that? Fuck no. But I know where my bread is buttered. I had a white girlfriend once who brought her new boyfriend on my job because she broke up with me over the phone, except for it wasn't me, because when she called the house, my ass was at work. I couldn't get fired that day. And the worst part about that is she was dating a guy who looked just fucking like me, just taller. His hair wasn't as good as mine, though. But anyway, AB, that was like the second of the Amy's in my life that fucked me up. The first one stabbed me in the back in the 3rd grade, or the 4th grade, whatever class Miss Davis was teaching, where my Spider-Man shirt that was white became a red Spider-Man shirt, and the teacher never noticed that she stabbed me in the back, even with the pencil sticking out of my back, while I'm running around like Homer Simpson on the floor. So yeah, dating chicks with that name wound up being a fatal kiss of death. I have to avoid that. Anyway, moving on. So that girl brought her new boyfriend to the job, and I flipped the fuck out. And yes, it's the same job where the white guy called me chief for 3 fucking years. So yeah, having telepathy right back then would have helped my ass a lot to know, yeah, James, you're reading her mind. Okay, this broad is cheating on you. Maybe it's time for you to let go. But see, it would have been fine had she not been dumb enough to bring her new boyfriend to my job. It's like, what are you doing here? I got to work tonight. She's like, yeah, we don't date anymore. We broke up. It's like, what the fuck you mean we broke up? We broke up last night. I was here last night. It's So I don't know who you called, but we didn't break up because I wasn't aware. Yeah, telepathy would have been great. Sorry, gotta stretch. Okay, so my fiance, ex-fiance, who had the same name as the chick that brought the boyfriend to the job, she's the one that relationships are overrated and you can't come see me anymore. And so for the last 10 years after that clusterfuck, I have been single for a fucking reason. It's not so much that I'm afraid of love, it's just that I'm not putting myself out there to put 2 years into someone who I think I'm going to marry and not. Because telepathy is a thing. Now just think about what could happen if I could have read those girls' minds and not got myself into any of that shit. I'd be a different person. I wouldn't be soiled. I wouldn't be seasoned. I wouldn't have trust issues with chicks. No, I wouldn't. Because I could read their minds. Just think about how if you met a girl and she was fucking awesome and she wanted to be with you but she was too scared to approach you. So you could read that and you approach her. And y'all would get married and live happily ever after until death do you part. Because that would be fucking awesome. Or telepathy. You can manipulate her to want to be with you for the rest of her natural life. Unless you lose your powers somewhere between the marriage. But, you know, that's neither here or there. But, you know, it'd be cool. Okay, it would probably be a little bit evil depending on your moral compass. But it still would be cool. So when you think about that shit, how do you fix it? How do you get into a woman's mind and her heart versus her underwear? Because eventually you will get into her underwear. But you need to get into her mind and her heart. Because if you don't know where her mind is and you don't know where her heart is, you know where you're going to be. Boots to ass. How can you prevent that from happening? You can't. Because you don't know where her heart is. You don't know where her mind is. Telepathy is a thing. And it would be cool if men had that shit. It's kind of like, alright, I'm about to offend the Alphabet Squad now, so let me apologize now. For everybody who lives the alternative lifestyle, if you are in the Alphabet Squad, which is like the LBGTQ XYZ club, no offense to you, but a lot of straight women have gaydar. I'm a man. I do not have gaydar. I cannot pick a woman out of the crowd and say she's a bull dyke. I can't pick a woman out of the crowd and say she's a lesbian. Because all women are sexy to me. No, I can't pick a transgender out of a crowd. If you put a transgender girl who does not have the Adam's apple and has been completely transformed downstairs, you know, and she's in a crowd with a bunch of hot, sexy chicks. Hey, I learned this on Maury when he did that cross-dressing drag thing. I couldn't pick a real woman to save my life. So, yeah, I'd be screwed. So, yeah, telepathy. Telepathy. Best superpower ever. Because you would never be defenseless. You would be able to read everybody's thoughts. I mean, I don't know if you could shut billions of people down at the same time, but you'd be able to read their fucking thoughts, you know, like at will. You're like, all right, what's this person? Oh, you're a nasty little motherfucker. But, you know, a lot of women have gaydar. I don't know how they have gaydar, but a lot of women have gaydar. When I was in my 20s and I worked in a movie theater, I almost got beat up by a black lesbian because I was hitting on her white lesbian girlfriend. But when you looked at these two girls, there was nothing about them that said atypical lesbian. Of course, I don't know what atypical lesbian is, but when this was going on, I watched the L Word. Obviously, the L Word is not a guide for good lesbian locations. Hey, you can't tell by looking if someone's gay or if they're lesbian. And I don't have gaydar. And I love lesbians, by the way. I almost got the love beat out of my ass by that black lesbian. It was the Downtown Movie Theater. It's now the Violet Crown. But it was once the Regal. So anyway, way back then, hello ladies. Hope you're still together. Because it was a salt and pepper couple. And like I said, there was a reason why I stopped dating black chicks. So, what have we learned in this video? We learned that James is a dumbass. And he does not have telepathy. Because otherwise, he would have never got himself into these situations. But yeah, you know, when you're doing these things, you know, you have to, when you're in a relationship, I'm an all or nothing person. You know, I want the truth. I don't give a damn how much it hurts, because here's the one true fact of relationships. If your partner, male or female, or if you're in two females together or two males together, if your partner's gonna cheat, they're gonna fucking cheat. Simple as that. There is nothing you can do or say to change it. And if they really love you, it's more than likely they're not gonna cheat, unless something like rohypnol comes into play. Because I'm a strong believer in this. I'm give you this little story about a few years back, 10 years exact, with me and my ex-fiance and her roommate's best friend. We went to the Korean barbecue right next to the Red Lantern now, but it's over in that direction. And I had only eyes for my fiance. There was no such thing as cheating. I didn't give a shit. There was no way in hell I was ever going to cheat. Now, my ex-fiance wanted us to have a threesome. That was her idea. I was against it because, can we all say that the T in threesome means trap? Yeah. I didn't want that shit to come back into my face. It's like, oh, well, we're going to have a threesome. Oh, you liked her better than you like me? Nah, I'm not dumb. Every man dreams of a threesome until it actually happens. Now, some of y'all, if y'all ain't in love with the person, hell yeah, we fuck buddies. We're going to do this threesome. But that's still going to cause friction somewhere down the road. And I assumed that with my ex-fiance that it was going to cause friction. So I was like, nah, we ain't doing that shit. We ain't doing that shit. And it took her almost 4 weeks to talk me into it. So I knew that wasn't going to happen. I was like, nah, I'm adamant. You know, unless she picks the girl, I'm adamant. Now, she did pick the girl, and we're going to leave that out. But, yeah, I was like, yeah, I really don't want to do this. And she's like, come on, come on, come on. So then when we finally got started, she didn't want to do it. I was like, now see? Now it's a problem. All right, so the threesome went halfway, and it didn't go all the way through. All right, so then they went out and went to drinking, and I went to fuck home and went to bed. And then she's like, why didn't you stay at the house? I was like, if y'all won't gonna be there, won't no fucking point of me being there. Well, anyway, right across the hallway, she had a roommate who had the same name. And her roommate had a friend named Fong. That's her actual name. I don't know her last name, so I can use her first name. So we went to the Korean barbecue, and this is way after the threesome. Don't get it twisted. The threesome was a half-assed threesome. It never really got as far as I wanted it to get. It kind of got as far as I needed it to get, though. So Murphy's Law. Way to go. So we went to the Korean barbecue, and this is close towards the end of our relationship. Had I known that the relationship was going to end, Fong and I would have had to go on and do the wild thing. But I'm not that kind of guy. I'm sitting here getting rings, trying to marry this broad. Damn cheating. So the whole time at the Korean barbecue, Fong's foot is going up and down my leg and near my crotch area, and I'm catching wood like a motherfucker. Alright, this video is no longer for children. So, I'm getting horny, and I'm like, Lord, I'm going to go home, and I'm going to tear my girlfriend's ass up tonight and just pretend like she's the other girl. Because that's what I was thinking. And I never told my girl, because I was like, I don't want to cause friction with her and her roommate, even though it was her roommate's best friend that was doing the shit. It's like, yeah, I'm not going to bring this up. So I kept that shit to myself. Now that none of them are in my lives, I can just bring that right on out now, because I can. So anyway, it's funny that when the relationship was over, Fong was nowhere in sight. And the other roommate had moved out also, so I don't know what the hell was going on with that, but she had went into a higher class apartment, and leaving my ex-fiance and the other roommate who stayed upstairs, that barely communicated with anybody because her father owned the building, and then the other roommate who lived in the front of the building, who also barely communicated. I guess they all were living separate lives, but all just sleeping in the same house. Anyway, moving on. You know, the relationship went to hell. But I not one time during the whole relationship cussed her out, put my hands on her that wasn't in a sexual manner consensually. I spoke nice to her parents, who may or may not have been racist and just didn't want to tell me. But I reunited her with her adoptive mom. I was hoping that I would one day marry the girl, and then we could go and reunite her with her real mom. Yep, that shit didn't happen. So I wound up going to the army to be all I can be. Got a messed up life and a new hip. There you go. But all jokes aside, you know, apparently women don't like being treated like God's gift to man. or women just really want fucking thugs and don't want good guys, which has pretty much been the story of my life with every woman I've ever been with. Which is why it's been so easy for them to play me like a fucking sucker. You know, and that's just the way it is. So that being said, telepathy. If we had telepathy, especially guys like me, you know, we're not thugs. I mean, I do kung fu. I don't have to go around and beat people up because I can. I only beat people up when they're coming at me the wrong damn way. Other than that, I don't start fights, I finish them. But you got the thug motherfuckers that's going around. I'm going to talk to this bitch any way I want. And I have that bitch in bed with me by the end of the night. Hurry up, cause you're taking too long. Gonna fuck the bitch by the end of that song. But they'll go with that guy. They'll look at me and say, oh, he's into kung fu. He's into lightsabers and comic books. He ain't touching me. He's also into wrestling and collecting G.I. Joes and X-Men. He ain't touching me. He don't even talk to me like I'm a woman. He talks to me like I'm a lady. So I don't want him. I don't want no man that's gonna talk to me like I'm a respectable lady. I want a man that's gonna talk to me like I'm his biatch. I want him to put me down day after day. I'm gonna carry his baby. And after 10 years of this motherfucker running off and cheating and other chicks getting pregnant, now I want to go mess with the nerd, kung fu, lightsaber carrying motherfucker. I've been raising other people's kids all my damn life. I'm not going to continue to do that until I actually create the kid with me, an innocent woman, my sperm and her egg. So I'm no longer trying to date ladies with kids. I'm sorry. If I have offended you, I'm sorry. But I am done raising other people's kids. I'm 47. I had to help bring up my siblings and their damn children. I'm done with that shit. Fuck that shit. I'm done with that shit. So my advice to you young ladies is stop dating these thugs and having their babies, because all they really want was a vagina sandwich and they're out. If you want to have them because they have a good lick and a big dick, knock yourself out. But don't get pregnant by these bastards, because just because they're good in bed, don't make them a great dad. Enough said. So we're going to leave this video now because I have overstated my welcome on stuff about telepathics. Because if I had telepathics, none of the shit that I told you would have ever fucking happened. Might be happy. But actually, I will say that if I actually had telepathic powers, I think I would just work for the government. I wouldn't even worry about getting married or having kids or having a happy life. I would just try to fight all the bad guys with telepathics, because I know I wouldn't be the only person on the universe that has telepathic powers. On a serious note, they have made many movies about shit like this. A good movie for you guys to go watch and check out. It's an old movie. It's called Chronicle. But it has nothing to do with telepathic powers. It has something to do with superpowers in general. But if they rebooted that bitch, I want the job. I don't want to be the black guy that dies. But I also don't want to get hit by an airplane. Thanks for watching. Kung Fu Havoc number 2. BC and you.